swoops on the crown and massive basket.
Three. You are kidding me.
And the fire burned brightest. Townsville are WNBL champions for the fourth time.
Hello and welcome to the final game of round 6 of the Cygnett WNBL. It's a clash between the UC Capitals and the Townsville Fire. The Capitals desperate to get a win on the board. The Fire looking to keep going on their merry way. They are 5-1 and second on the ladder so far to start this season. My name is Matt Hickey and I'm joined by the legendary Laurie Chiswick. And Laurie, we've just seen an absolute thriller in the previous game. Overtime as good as it gets, and hopefully we get a similar performance and game here in this final one for round 6.
Well, I know we're trying to draw breath here in preparation for this next game, but it's sort of like a must. Look, every game that Canberra goes into, they go in with confidence. They've been competitive. They just haven't found a way yet to get a win on the board.
Yeah, 0-7 to start, but on Friday night, just a 2-point loss to the Flames. They led in the fourth quarter. Kayla George fouled out with about 2.5 minutes to play, and you thought this could be the moment for the Caps, but they could not quite get the job done. Jade Melbourne went 1 of 2 from the free throw line with about 4.5 seconds to play, and they go down by 2 points. At what point does it become above the shoulders rather than the actual performance and the physical and talent attributes that are being put out on the floor?
Well, we can see by that last game that, exact same position that Adelaide were in, and they came out on fire and really, at one stage we're up by 20 points. So, so far for them that hasn't been the case. And Canberra, that loss by 2 points on Friday night, they don't have a lot of time to regroup, but there's been a very different preparation for this game. That 2-point game for Canberra, whereas Townsville haven't played for 10 days. So they've had a lot of time to focus on their defense, get their offensive sets in place. We know that that Coach Shannon Seabaum's very, structure-oriented, very precise, and so it'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
Certainly will. And on the other side of the ballgame, as you mentioned, Townsville 5-1 on the year. They're second on the ladder, 3-0 away from home, 80 points per game, and they only allow 69 and have not played this round. And one of the interesting things that's worth mentioning is Amanda Zowie B playing here in this game as a recruit. She joined Townsville after a hurried departure from Israel, where she was playing in the top division there. So coming off the bench, but just one to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, well, it'll be really interesting to see how she fits into the mix with Townsville. They're really settled right now, and as you mentioned, they're second on the ladder, and they're second for a reason. They're first in field goal percentage, first in 3-point percentage, first in free throw percentage. So and they're the best defensive team. So they really it'll be interesting to see with her coming into the mix. If she does play today, we're not positive she is actually going to hit the floor. She just arrived this week, so it'll be interesting. But she's somebody that Alice Kunick knows well. She's played against her in Europe for the last three years, and I spoke to Alice, and she speaks really highly of her as a person and a player.
So we're just about set and ready to go. The Capitals and the Fire. And the Capitals, these two teams played back in round 3, and it was a relatively close game, a 12-point margin in the end, and the win for the Fire, but it was a little bit closer than that. And it was Alice Kunick who had 27 points, 5 of 9 from the land of plenty in that one.
And in that one also, Jade Melbourne had a massive 15 assists to her name. So, it'll be interesting. Hopefully she'll be able to have that sort of game. 14 points she had. She's having a great season, as we know.
She certainly is. A reminder that the official WNBL app is finally here. We don't want you to miss a minute of the action. So if your live scores, your highlights, your player and team info, all your stats, all of the good stuff, and plenty more, you can download the free WNBL app today. So the final game of round 6 just about set and ready to get underway. The Capitals at home, desperate for a win, playing against a rampaging Townsville Fire. And we are ready to get going. at the NCCC, and it'll be the Capitals who get things underway. And instantly a turnover. Not really the start that you'd want, that's for sure. Sammy Whitcomb and Cygnett and through hands, and Steph Reed will just get things set up. Tino Kuso's had a great start to the year as well. Such a threat for them. Whitcomb, Sammy Whitcomb, and that is a scary sign if you're a UC Capitals fan. And she gets another steal.
Well, yep, good start for Sammy. Score, maybe another one here. Yep, score.
This is
steal, score.
Sammy Whitcomb. I'd be interested to see what her per 40-minute stats would be after the first 40 seconds of the game.
And look at the up and in defense of Steph Reed on Jade Melbourne.
Jade Melbourne, that is a pretty move though, right to left crossover. She finishes, and what a hot start to this game. An important maybe as well, because if the Fire wanted to take the crowd out of it as Cygnett airballs the pull-up jumper, that start was the way to do it, but Melbourne gets them back on track. So Jade Melbourne having such a fantastic season, 4th in scoring, 2nd in assist. Just 21 years of age. You sometimes forget how young she is.
Well, and just in the most recent outing against Sydney, in which it was Tess Madgen's 250th game, Melbourne had 19 points.
And we saw this matchup a lot in that round 3 battle that they had a few weeks ago, and it was Melbourne v Reed. And she did have those 15 assists because she was pretty well held in terms of scoring herself, just the 14 points, but found a way to impact the game.
I like how you say just her 14 points. That's a pretty good day at the office, 14 points and however many rebounds.
It is. As we see Alex Sharp step in. It's just, you know, you get the superstars of the game, and we used to see just the expectation becomes too high. And Sammy Whitcomb has come out with real purpose. She had 16 points and 7 assists the last 2 times these teams played. And it will be Townsville ball. So they lead 7-4, and we've played just about 2 minutes.
One thing that's great to see is, regardless that the Capitals are winless, they still get a great crowd. I was going to say no way, Sammy, if that went in. They still get a great crowd, really supportive, really vocal.
Nice high-low action for the Caps, and they managed to get their own rebound and reset. That was Fowler in and under. Melbourne turns the corner, kick to Fowler, 3-point bomb on its way. No, not quite. Now the Fire can run. Cygnett was wide open in the paint. Whitcomb, I think if she'd made that last one, that one definitely would have gone up, but decides against it. And they'll reset. Reed, great work, kicks to the corner. What fantastic play from the Townsville Fire. The 3-point make came from Roof, but the play was set up by Steph Reed. Capitals do not want to get themselves into a hole early against this Fire team. Okoye, fadeaway jumper, not quite. We know she has the green light from deep, but good to see her look to get feet in the paint as well. Sammy Whitcomb just looks so threatening every time she gets the ball here. And just as I say that, she turns it over.
I was just watching Akuzo in that play phase, and she went down low and actually pointed to Sammy to kick it on to get a better angle to pass it into her, because she was open. She had her defender behind her at that other angle.
So the Capitals find themselves down by 6 early as we see Fowler step into a triple and go bang.
Didn't that look good, leaving her hand?
She's top 20 in the league in scoring, of course. Attended Portland University, 4.5 rebounds per game as well.
Well, she's actually leads the league in 3-point percentage as well at almost 58%. So I would think she has a green light.
The greenest of green lights. Alex Sharp there with the rebound. She's 3rd in rebounding. We just saw the battle of the boards. in the previous game between Turner and Maley, but Alex Sharp averaging 11.3 rebounds per game. Kunek and Akuso. It's a pretty deadly duo. And that one does everything but drop for Zatina Akuso. Crowd vocal to start this game. Sharp, not quite. Akoya just didn't quite judge the rebound. And here comes Sammy Wickham. She might just pull up. Thought about it, but decides against it. Good hands from Melbourne. She's a bit of a mismatch in the paint. Single digits on the shot clock. Wickham, right, left, and a bit stiff there on Alex Fowler. Guess the right way, but that just goes to show you the speed of Sammy Wickham.
Well, just the speed and the intellect of Sammy Wickham and her composure out there to draw that foul, really.
All in all, though, the Capitals only down by 3, and you think about the really hot start from Sammy Wickham and how the Fire got things underway.
Oh, and there we see the import getting early minutes coming in at the 5-minute mark, Zawi B.
She's a great three-point shooter, a WNBA vet. As we see, already looking to go a little bit of a pick and pop from Reed. Reed went herself instead, and that will be Cap's ball.
Well, I understand that she, you know, she can pick and pop, screen and roll. She likes the turnaround jump shot. Can run the floor really well. Ticks lots of boxes.
And it's going to be just a reach-in foul on Steph Reed there. So that's going to be her second personal. And she might need an early break. And just couldn't resist reaching in there. But isn't it tough for opposition when you take Akuso out of the game and now you're putting in Zawi B? That is size for size, isn't it?
Well, they do. They have some good size, some good length. You've got Michaela Roof, who's having a sensational season so far. So they've got a lot of bases covered.
Played just over 5 minutes here in the opening quarter of this one. Little step through, but I think a shuffle of the feet from Gemma Potter. One of this young core, just 21 years of age, and right idea, but the execution not quite there.
Yeah, you can just see Kristen Veal in the background there saying, no, kick it on, kick it on.
Again, the luxury of being able to bring a player like Courtney Woods off the bench. Townsville Fire, such a strong team. Kunek launches one, no, not quite. Zawi B was trying to establish herself in the paint, but they couldn't get her the ball. Here's Jade Melbourne. Step back triple and left it short. Sammy Wickham, kick out. There's the pick and pop. It's a deep 2, but it's points to start her season, Amanda Zawi B. And then one to the face with the ball, but it'll be Townsville ball anyway. It's that pick and pop we spoke about, Laurie.
That's exactly right. And it'll be interesting to, I would think she'd play in short bursts today. You know, having left Israel when the conflict broke out, and now she's been back in her home country of Sweden, just sort of biding her time. So she's probably a little bit short on match fitness right now, but certainly not short of experience.
Another pick and pop. Zawi B really looking to just put her imprint on the WNBL. Couldn't get it to go.
I suppose the most interesting part of having her and joining at this stage of the season, round 6, is, you know, they've gone so well just with the group they've had with Hawkins pulling out late. Is that going to be at all disruptive to their rotation, to the players that they've had coming in off the bench? You know, Courtney Woods, Brown, how does she fit into the rotation?
We see Jada Clark with a nice finish. Yeah, it will be interesting. Do you think that you could, I mean, with only a very, very small sample size so far, but could we see Akuso and Zawi be on the court at the same time?
Well, maybe you could. I mean, it would, you know, depend who you were playing. It would certainly, you'd have to play at a slower pace, but, you know, it'd be pretty influential.
Yeah, I think the shooting potentially allowing them to do that. It will be intriguing to see if they decide to pull the trigger on that at any moment, as we see. There you go. That's the size. So doesn't necessarily result in points or a stat, but she draws a foul and the Fire will keep the ball. And rebounding could become a real factor in this game, and it's somewhere that they have to at least compete, the Capitals, if they want to have a chance at scoring their first win of the season. Cygnett looking to establish a post presence, eventually gets it here at the foul line, looking to go to work, little step back jumper. And again, the battle for the rebounds is so difficult, and this time it's Courtney Woods for 2.
And she just scored of everything. The focus was on Zawi B, and she just waltzed in and got a nice, easy rebound.
Koya again drives to the lane, not quite an offensive rebound, this time for the Capitals as they look to cut into this 5-point lead. That's going to go up, you'd think. I think everyone in the building knew that one was going up. She's got the greenest of green lights, Okoya, but it doesn't drop. And then a little too strong on the pass. So moments of brilliance, but also a couple of scrappy moments for both teams in this game. It's threatened to be some really brilliant basketball, but
a bit messy as well at times for both teams.
Neither team really able to establish themselves. That's a nice backdoor cut and the score, and a free throw to come for Potter.
I feel like that's a real focus for Canberra, that whenever there's a player making a cut, she's going to get the ball. They are going to pass that ball, and you know, they have a real knack of being able to find that player.
Fantastic movement off the ball and a great finish through contact. And there you go. There's those quick rotations. Zoe B heads to the bench. But some good first minutes from her in this WNBL season. And it'll be Zatina Akuso to take the floor again. So Gemma Potter to the line, averaging 6 points per game. And she's up to 3 already here in this one. And the Capitals, they trail by just 2. Took over 2 minutes to go in the opening period. Ball pinging through hands like we've seen before for the Fire. Great hands from Okoya. And wins possession for the Capitals. And that's the kind of energy and defense that they need to play all night long.
Well, the Fire did a good job of reversing the ball and getting it inside exactly where Akuso wanted it, but even better defense by Okoya just to get a fingertip out at a deflection. Right idea by Potter, just drag that pivot foot before the ball hit the ground.
Seen some good minutes from Jada Clark, just 17 years of age. She's only averaging 3.7 points and a couple of assists a game, but she's had a bit of an influence here in this one to start proceedings. It's the type of play that they need just to step up a little bit to start getting some wins on the board. And one that really just annoys coaches is the baseline catch and the step out of bounds.
And you see it pretty much every game, at least once that happens, if not more.
Turn of the corner, left hand flip up and in, and continuing on her merry way. Jada Clark, what a start to the game for her.
Really nice finish, fully outstretched arms.
Oh, Kuso, the 1-2, how sweet was that? So this game just gone up a notch here in the final 2 minutes of the first quarter. The Capitals, they trail by 2. Clark, she dribbled herself out of it, eventually flipped the pass over to an open shot from Potter on the wing. It doesn't go. And Akuso just a little shaken up. Might have just copped a stinger to the shoulder, but she seems okay. She'll carry on, and it'll be Townsville ball, 1:07 to go.
She is having, to me, one of her best season, I think, in a long time. Akuso averaging 15 points per game, shooting the ball at almost 58%. She looks like she's playing with such confidence.
Yeah, and it comes in off the back of an NBL 1 season where she was returning from injury, and
Yeah.
some of these other players, you know, were able to go fully fledged out in the NBL 1 and get that momentum, as we see Courtney Wood, speaking of fully fledged in the NBL 1, NBL 1 North MVP and making the move to the Darwin Salties in 2024. But Zatina Akuso is really finding her stride, as you mentioned, Laurie. Again, there's that movement off the ball. Clark, the extra pass. That one deserves to drop, and it does. How good the movement off the ball, Laurie.
And that's what you want, that just that recognition of inside out and having your feet set ready. And then here we see a deflection, a turnover by Townsville, and Canberra taking advantage of that.
So the Capitals should have the final look at the first quarter and can take the lead. Ball in the hands of Clark. One way, the other way. The 17-year-old flips it up, and she'll go to the line to shoot 2. And Jada Clark has 4 points, 2 assists and a rebound. And they're already better than her points and assist averages for a whole game as she goes to the free throw line. And what a fantastic start it's been for her.
Well, you have to give her full credit that at the end of the shot clock there, she didn't pass it out. She knew she wanted it in her hands, and she was going to drive it to the basket. And for a young player, that shows a lot.
Yeah, supreme confidence, and also shows the faith that Kristen Veal has instilled in her as the coach. So 4.3 on the clock as the Capitals tie it up. The Fire will have to go quick, and the second one goes as well. So the Capitals take the lead. One final possession here for the Fire. Pushing the ball down the court, quick trigger, no, not quite. Cassandra Brown couldn't get it to go, but we've played one here at the NCCC, and it's the UC Capitals leading 19-18 over the Townsville Fire.
Looking for your pathway in basketball? She Hoops Leadership and Confidence Scholarship can help. We're offering 30 girls from around Australia the opportunity to develop as coaches, players and officials, with mentoring from some of Australia's best basketballers and some of Australia's best coaches in breaking down barriers. If you're a girl aged 15 to 18, then this is for you. This 5-month program will accelerate your development both on and off the court. Interested? Head to shehoops.com.au to apply.
Hello and welcome back to this clash between the UC Capitals and the Townsville Fire. And it's the Capitals who've jumped out to a really solid start, ended the first quarter in style. They lead 19-18 after one, and I'm joined by the legendary Laurie Chizzy.
Yeah, what a... You know, at the first start with Sammy Whitcomb coming out and getting a couple of baskets and steals early on, you were like, ooh, what's this going to be like? But to the Capitals' credit, great comeback, great job in steadying and really, you know, making sure that that quarter they were very competitive.
And a familiar face on the bench for the UC Capitals, not playing, but a familiar face, Laurie.
Yeah, right behind the head of Kristen Veal, we can see Beck Pizzi, and we know she hasn't played yet this year. She's been out with an injury to her left knee, a tear in her patella tendon, but she's slowly been rehabbing, hopefully back the middle of January. But I spoke to her to just ask her about being on the bench and looking at things through a coach's eyes, and she said, you know, she can give her players a little bit of observation, some pointers where she can, and it's been really helpful to her, she said, and she's got a high IQ, so she's able to see the game and help her players and help with their confidence.
And a solid season for Eltham in the NBL 1, and flirted with a 5x5, which is one for the stats nerds out there and not one you see too often. 5 in each of the 5 categories as we see Michaela Roof get fouled. She'll go to the line to shoot 2.
That was a really nice play that they would have drawn up out of the quarter time to get Ruth on the left-hand side, her preferred side, and finishing strongly inside.
Of course, a member of the team of the round for round 5 with 13 points and 19 rebounds. And she buries the first free throw up to 4 points now with 4 boards. So well and truly on track for another double-double. So the Fire lost the lead late in the first quarter. They regain it early in the second, and now it's over to Jade Melbourne and the UC Caps. And the Capitals will be happy because they haven't really had to rely too much on Melbourne, just the 2 points and 1 assist for her. But we'll know she will have a big impact as this game goes on, and that was a strong find, but three-point basket couldn't quite go. Ruth, quick kick up to Woods, just dropped her right hand, shoulder, and then popped in with her right hand, I should say, and the Fire lead by 3.
Really good running the floor by Courtney Woods and the kick-ahead pass to her.
What a fantastic find from Melbourne, and the Capitals get a much-needed 2 to start the second. That was a laser beam. Kuso with some pressure from Fowler. Ruth picks up her dribble. Dangerous spot. Tough turnaround jump shot. And the Capitals get a much-needed rebound with Sammy Wickham lurking on the offensive glass. Again, another good find from Melbourne, but Munga couldn't get the 3 to drop. 90 seconds gone in the second. Akuso. And Steph Reed will reset. Sammy Wickham, single digits on the shot clock. That's just a bit of a lazy pass. And the Capitals can go back the other way. Melbourne, no look. Brilliant.
Good follow-up.
Couldn't get the assist going to Alex Sharp. One that Jade Melbourne might bring up at training during the week, but a basket nonetheless to the Capitals.
I just want to go back where you said a bit of a lazy pass, and I agree, but I think it was a bit of a two-way street. Akuso was posting up and then just stopped. And you can't do that. You have to hold your seal regardless of whether you get the ball or not when the pass then gets carried on. So I think, you know, both players need to put up their hand for that turnover.
Back and forth start to the second quarter. Timeout on the floor, and this timeout is brought to you by Cygnett, Australia's #1 digital accessories brand. Cygnett continues to power the WNBL. Australian owned and designed. Cygnett is available at JB Hi-Fi, Officeworks, and other leading retailers. Visit cygnett.com. That is cygnett.com. So the 0 and 7 Capitals have well and truly come to play here, Laurie, and it's a familiar sight for them. They've been in games. It's not as if they've been blown out every time they've taken the floor. They just can't get over the hump at the moment.
And there's the great crowd we talked about earlier, but they have been competitive. There's only been, I think, one game where, you know, it might have been a 20 or a 17-point game, but otherwise they've been in it. They've been in it down the stretch, and they keep putting pressure on teams. But as we talked about with Adelaide, it's about finding ways and means of winning those close games. Now, it's close now. We don't know what it's going to end up at the end of the fourth quarter, but you need to stay competitive throughout.
Chairs in that stand might be the most comfortable in international sport, living in luxury.
They're in a zone now, a 2-3 zone. Lots of talk, lots of pointing.
Single digits on the shot clock. Kick down to Akuso. Hard to the right, then back to the left, and she scores 2. So even with the zone, points in the paint coming for the Fire.
Just a classic back to the basket move by Satina Akuso.
Again, a good find from Melbourne to Fowler, but could not get that shot to drop. It's brave here for the Capitals to go to a zone considering the three-point shooting of the Fire. They're going to have to be right on the money, aren't they?
And it might be, and it looks like it might have just come out of that timeout, that now we see them back man-to-man.
Off one leg, Steph Reed, no. And for her size, she's a fantastic rebounder. And she found an open Alice Kunek, couldn't get the 3 to drop, and the Capitals will look to retake the lead on this possession. Sure, that was a pass, might have been a tap, but eventually it found its way to Munga. Stopped herself
No
from
way.
falling in one way and somehow got the score.
That's what you find. That's what you call, you know, finding a ways and a means to score.
Try and replicate that in a game of horse. Good luck. No dice on the triple. Down on the ground is Courtney Woods. She somehow gets the ball amongst 2 or 3 black jerseys, and the Fire will get another opportunity. Wickham started off the game really hot, has slowed since. That's a great find, and Akuso starting to make her presence felt in the paint.
Just looked so strong when she rolled to the basket.
Ball through hands here for the Capitals. Munga looking to cut back door. Back to Melbourne. Right person with their hands on the ball as the shot clock winds down. She went from the left to the right to flip the ball up and just left it a little short. Wickham goes herself and she says, anything you can do trick shot wise, I can do just as well.
It almost looked like a shot from Asian basketball with 2 hands. I'll just flick it over my head.
Looked like she was going to put it up with the left. That was the direction she was going. Instead, switched it to the right. High degree of difficulty. Great drop-off ball, but the assist not coming. Alex Sharp was the one who delivered it. And we've seen that a few times here for the Capitals, and they have to hit the gimmies if they're going to beat the Fire. Akuso again, a real focal point. Inside, outside, Sammy Wickham. And they get led off because you cannot leave her open from the land of plenty. Tough fall-away jumper. And maybe a bit of a rush look from Alex Sharp. She's having a good year, 15.6 points per game. 7th in the league. Centre of Excellence product. Some contact through there. Refs really letting them play. Wickham not happy with it. Steph Reed, as I mentioned, a great rebounding guard. Averages 3.8 a game. Went to the left, came back to the right, and that's that really smart play, Laurie, where you switch back to the side that the defense is trailing you on. It's either a foul or you protect your basket and your space.
Totally agree. And that play started with Akuso adjusting which side she was going to screen on, and it gave Reed the chance to drive it in, change her angle, and as you say, keep that defender behind her.
Yeah, fantastic move. High IQ, that is for sure. Timeout on the floor. This timeout is brought to you by your local Ford dealer, proudly supporting community basketball in Australia, and don't we love them for it. So head down to your local Ford dealer, as I mentioned, proudly supporting community basketball in the land down under. So a really intriguing game we've had so far. On paper, of course, Laurie, it looks as though it's the Fire's game to lose, but the Capitals are right in it.
Actually, I just want to, when they had a shot of Canberra, I just noticed that Alex Bunton is not suited up to play. So I'm not sure if she is injured or what's happening with her, but there we can see her on camera now.
And in a team of a lot of young players, it's really noticeable when one of your experienced players is not out there on the floor. You're all of a sudden, your total games average drops quite significantly.
And the thing is that she brings the height too, you know, and they're lacking that.
Yeah, especially against Zatina Akuso, and we've seen a little bit of Amanda Zowie B as well. So a little delay is, I think, maybe a spillage over on the Townsville Fire bench as we look to get going. All set. So the Capitals trail by 5, but they have the ball just past the halfway mark of the second quarter here in the final game of round 6 of the Cygnett WNBL. Clark has been really good so far in this game. Gets it off to Melbourne. Shot clock winding down. Okoye sets the screen. Melbourne spinning, falling away. And no, that didn't go in. That was all the net, but it didn't get over the rim. So not a great possession from the Capitals, especially out of a timeout. You would have hoped for something a little more.
I give credit to Townsville for that. They were all over the Capitals on defense. see what they can do with this fast break opportunity.
Koya hasn't really gotten involved too much in the offense. We know that she's got the greenest of green lights from deep. Melbourne with the step back. She didn't leave that one short. She cashes it for 3.
I think she's been watching Sammy Whitcomb. That's exactly the first shot of the game from Sammy.
So Jade Melbourne with a big basket, and we're back to a 2-point lead for the Fire. Crowd starting to get involved. Really great play from Clark. Just knew that that was the direction that she was going to go.
You can see the acknowledgement or the chemistry that the Townsville Fire have. They really know where each other are, where that extra pass is to make a good angled pass inside.
Yeah, great link-up plays. We see Munga back the other way, and it's a blocking foul. And Kunek just a little shaken up. It's going to be free throws to come for Munga. So let's just have a little bit of a look at that. Just one into the ribs, wasn't it? Just in and underneath for Kunek, who, as you can see from that replay, was a little bit shaken up after the play, and she's still just taking a moment. So there's going to be a brief pause in the game as people attend to Alice Kunek.
I don't know whether she actually came down on her wrists, but didn't look good. But you know, a great basket by Munger, going strong and aggressively to the hoop.
So Alice Kunek in good hands underneath the basket as the medical staff attend to her. 30 apiece in this game at the moment. We've played just around 6.5 minutes of the second quarter. The Fire took a nice little early advantage. The Capitals now have bounced back in front of their home fans as we just take a moment on the floor. We have a look through some of the stats so far in this one. Sammy Whitcomb, she has 9 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, so doing a little bit of everything. Courtney Woods has 6 points. Akuso with 4 for the Capitals. Jade Melbourne has 5 points, 2 assists. Alex Sharp has 4. Fowler with 5. And Munga with 4. And Jada Clark has been good off the bench with 6, as has Gemma Potter as well.
Well, if we look at Townsville, and you just mentioned the spread of scores that are on there, that their starting fives, you know, has been very settled for the last few minutes, and they have 80% of their points are scored by that starting 5 group.
Yeah, it's a great unit, that is for sure. So we've got this break in play. We throw and have a look at the Capital season so far. So 0-7, as we mentioned, to start the year. They're 8th on the ladder. So last, they're averaging 75.2 points per game, giving up 85.3 points allowed. So that's probably the number for them that needs to improve. And as we mentioned, played on Friday night against the Flames. They lost 70-72 in that one. They had a +5 point lead in the final quarter. It looked like it was their game to lose. But they couldn't quite get over the line. And we have a look at the numbers, and no surprise that the Capitals at a glance, there is a lot of Jade Melbourne in that. That scoring number, 16.9, is good for 4th in the league. The assist number good for 2nd. And she just needs some plays to come with it, Laurie.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, she's just a phenomenal player each time that she steps on the court. And last time, as I mentioned, she had 15 assists against Townsville.
Certainly the best defender as well, Gemma Potter, 1.4 steals per game, and I mentioned that last game. We look for the Townsville Fire, Zatina Akuso averaging 15.3 points per game. That's top 10 in the league. Sammy Whitcomb, 5.5 assists, and Michaela Roof, who, as I mentioned, was in the team of the round for round 5, averaging 9.3 rebounds per game. Again, this team, Laurie, it just seems to be a case of if they can get their pieces all clicking and they can get that rotation right, I'm not sure how many teams are going to be able to stop them.
Well, they've been really impressive so far, and you know, they're the ones that everybody's chasing. They're the defending champions. They recruited well in the off season. They've gelled well. They've got a great coach. They've got a new import now. So, you know, all things are looking good for the Townsville Fire.
So we're just about ready to reset here. You would have probably heard in the background some applause from the crowd as Alice Kunek managed to get up, and she will now receive some attention off the floor. So wishing her all the best in that as this game is back underway. And now we have a timeout on the floor, I believe, from Townsville. So 30-30 apiece, 3:29 to play here in the second. The final game of what's been a super entertaining round 6, that is for sure, Laurie. And speaking of entertaining, the earlier game here on Sunday, that was an absolute thriller, wasn't it?
Wow, that, overtime, we almost thought it might go into double overtime, something we haven't had before. But again, it would just be heartbreaking for the Adelaide Lightning's fans. Another very, very close loss.
Yeah, heartbreaking for Adelaide Lightning. They looked like they had that game in the bag at one point. They led by as much as 20, would you believe? But the Perth Lynx came back with some serious fire and managed to get over the line. And no surprise, it was Aari McDonald who was absolutely fantastic, eclipsing the 30-point mark again.
Yeah, she was so impressive in the way she went about her business. And just at the time, we thought she had sort of a quiet first half, but then just amassed point after point and really just took charge of the game.
So about ready to restart here in this one. It'll be Capitals ball baseline out of bounds, 3:29 to play in the second. Got to get the ball off, and they didn't, so credit to the Townsville Fire. Absolute lock-up defense, and the Capitals, they drew something up, but it didn't quite have the answer.
Yeah, Townsville were great at switching aggressively and just giving them no breathing space to find a pass.
So ball through hands here as we get down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. Good possession defensively so far for the Capitals. Eventually finds its way into Roof. That was brilliant. Fake to the right, went to the left and scored 2.
Their skip passes to find the right angle to make the post entry have just been superb.
Cassandra Brown was the one who gave the entry pass, and she was the one who came up with the stop there. Eventually kicks back out now for the Capitals. No dice. Fire lead by 2 inside 3 minutes to play. Good take, but an even better block, and Jada Clark is having the game of her life here in the first half.
Hard to believe she is 18 years old, Jada Clark. She's doing it at both ends of the court.
Playing fantastic basketball, Jada Clark. 6 points, 3 assists, 1 rebound, and now a block to go along with that as well. So some substitutions on the floor. We get to have another look at that. Really great job of not giving away the foul. We saw earlier in the quarter, Steph Reed was able to create that space, but then the block came through really nicely. And bang! Oh, the Townsville Fire with a big basket. They go up by 5 now, and this is going to be a really crucial 2.5 minutes, because if the Fire extend this lead, the Capitals, all their hard work might be undone. Zowie B onto the court now as well for the Fire. Good take, nice up fake, and a good reply from the UC Caps. Entertaining little period of play here from both teams. Zowie B on the roll that time, has the seal, but the takeaway. Here's Munga, 3-on-2, pulls up with the jump shot, could not get it to go, and I think it will stay with the Capitals. So a nice defensive play, maybe not the transition look they were after, but they will get another opportunity with the baseline out of bounds.
Well, it was great anticipation by Munger at the other end to, first of all, get that steal and get it down the court, and then look at her options here. Hopefully they can get a shot.
Corner 3, this time at least, as you said, Laurie, they got the ball in. Found its way back to Fowler at the top, who's threatened to hit a couple from deep. Top 20 in the league in scoring. That one doesn't go. Sammy Wickham been relatively quiet since the first minute or so, but now she'll get a chance to go to the free throw line. So Townsville with a 3-point advantage, 99 seconds to go in the first half, and Sammy Wickham will go to the line to shoot 2. Shout out to all the players whose shoes match the jersey colour.
Yeah.
Got to appreciate the little things. So free throws good for Sammy Wickham. And the Fire lead by 5. .90 seconds to go here in the second quarter. Capitals 32, Townsville Fire 37. Capitals, as we've mentioned, looking and searching and hoping for that first win. Melbourne fouled and a clash of bodies. Everyone okay and up as we see Zoe B pick herself up slowly. Jade Melbourne as well, and just an innocuous little hit.
It's really important right now that the Capitals, you know, they don't let this margin extend out too far. So, you know, they need to come up with a good basket here and then a nice stop. That would be a great, it was a great execution of the play. Alex Sharp's been pretty quiet at the scoring end today.
Sammy Wickham, quick trigger 3, couldn't get it to drop. Yeah, the Capitals are doing a pretty great job despite some of their more notable scorers. I mean, Okoye, as we see turnover, I think the refs are actually going to have a discussion about this one. Okoye hasn't scored yet. Sharp has 6 points, but she's shooting only 30%, 3 of 10 from the field. As we have a little conversation, it's off the knee. Stay Caps ball, and then a little pat on the back from Jade Melbourne to the official saying, yep, spot on, you got that one right. And a timeout on the floor, and the Capitals, well, they'll be hoping for a little bit better result because the last time they had a timeout from a baseline out of bounds, it was a 5-second violation.
Exactly. So you have to make sure that you're setting really good screens. Know that if they're switching, the screener's open, but whatever their out of bounds play is here, you want to make sure you get it in.
So 59.1 seconds in the first half. 37-32 the way of the Townsville Fire at the moment. Capitals on their home floor, though, trying to get the home crowd engaged. And, I mean, we have a look at Sammy Wickham. There's been moments where she looks to have struggled to get going, 1 of 5 from deep, but she still has 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals.
I think just whenever she steps on the floor, she's influential. You have to defend her. You have to respect her, guard her. You can't go under screens. So whether she's scoring or whether she's facilitating or getting the ball through hands, she just has an impact whenever she's on the court.
It's always interesting when you see these star players, and she's been visibly frustrated at moments in this game. But she's got a stat line that a lot of players would be happy with just for an entire game, let alone a half, with 11, 4, 3, and 2. But she set such a high standard for herself. And it's why she's been one of the best players in this competition for a long time. One of the best players in the world. Let's see what they drew up. That was the look. It was not a bad look. The line drive triple from Fowler, but she left it shorter. She's done a few times so far in this game. And the Capitals, again, just can't quite execute from the out of bounds. This is a stagnant possession here for Townsville. Single digits on the clock. Sammy Wickham, the right play to get the ball into. Eventually finds it. Zoe B back out to Wickham. No call, and it'll be a shot clock violation.
So a really good defensive possession by the Canberra Capitals. Forced a shot up at the end of the shot clock, Townsville, and now they got a chance for one last shot.
Should be one last possession, as you mentioned, Laurie, if they're smart about it, and looks like they will be. This pick and pop with Fowler and Melbourne. Melbourne just goes herself this time, a little too strong. 2 on the clock. Good look in the end. Good look in the end, but Shields left it short, and that will do us for the opening half. The Townsville Fire, they lead 37-32 after the opening 2 quarters of play. Back and forth, high tempo. Both teams had their moments, but at the moment, the Fire hold the advantage, although the Caps, I think, Laurie, have been better than some of us expected.
Well, they have, and you know, but we've become to note the Capitals and become used to their tenaciousness, their never give up attitude, their staying competitive. And at one point, it looked like Townsville could just almost go ahead and blow them out. But to their credit, it's still only a 5-point game.
They're well and truly in it, and as you said, Laurie, we've seen them in it before. It's just whether they can finally break free and score that first victory of the season. So 37-32 the way of the Townsville Fire. Sammy Wickham, she's leading the way. She's played all 20 minutes in the opening half. She has 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. And Laurie, we did speak about her a little bit before the whistle and the siren sounded for the end of the first half, but she has been fantastic.
Well, she has, and you know, we talk about her all the time, but she's a leader. She's got high IQ. She settles the team. You know, you just want her on the floor, and she is on the floor playing with all her teammates.
So we have a look at the team numbers right there, and both teams shooting identical from the three-point line, 3 of 14. The Townsville Fire, though, dominating the rebound count, 25-20, especially on the defensive side. The Capitals have done well to get a couple of second chance opportunities. And the turnover numbers are relatively even as well. And considering the score line, it's not too much of a surprise that we see these type of numbers, Laurie.
Yeah, and I think the thing is they need to take care of the ball, both teams, because they need to get good shots every single time up, you know, up the court when they're on offense. And, you know, three-pointers, well, if they can just increase the percentage of that a little bit more, that would help either team. But as you can see, the numbers, there's not much in it.
Not much in it at all as we look at some of the individual stats, and pretty widespread for the Capitals. Clark, Potter, Sharp, all with 6 each, and Clark's been one of these players who's come off the bench and had a really big impact, 6 points and 3 assists for the Capitals. She's had some great minutes for a young player.
Well, she has, and it's great to always see a bench player. You know, Courtney Woods came in off the bench as well, 6 points. To see those bench players come in and have an immediate impact, because it's not always easy to do that in you know, sort of whatever stage of the game it is. So credit to both of them.
An entertaining first half in the books. Will the UC Capitals finally break the drought and get their first win? Well, we'll just have to wait and find out. At the moment, though, it's the Townsville Fire who lead 37-32.
Superstars. This is the one that matters most. The Aussies are ready to unleash on 9 Summer of Awesome.
Ford dealers have backed sport in communities for nearly 100 years. And now, from the Boomers and Opals to Aussie Hoops, your local Ford dealer is proud to support basketball. Because all dreams start somewhere.
I had actually been chatting to Billy a couple of previous seasons and it just hadn't really aligned at the right time. This year I was ready to get a fresh start and I guess try something new and push my game in a different direction. I could tell that she had a really great vision and she knew a lot about my game and knew how I could contribute to the team, and I think that's what really drew me to Canberra. Like Billy said, it's a really good step in the right direction where we want to go and build on. So when I was at the COE actually, she was just starting to coach. So it's a bit of a full circle moment, getting back to Canberra, now she's head coach. Tell, even playing them last year and the previous years, that they have a really great team culture.
Melbourne to find herself some space, feed it out, and that's a beautiful shot there from Alex Sharp.
It's just a privilege, honestly. Such a joy to play with someone that has so much love for the game, but also such a high level of IQ that you can really learn from her, feed off her passion, off her drive. It's something that I'm really grateful for every day, and I don't tell her that all the time. Yeah, I really love playing with Jade.
Picked off by Sharp, who's been everywhere on offense and defense for the Caps.
Alex Sharp, she's a hard worker and she certainly does the little things that go unstatted.
I'm the type of person that puts a lot of expectations on myself. I've enjoyed stepping into a bit of a leadership role with this team, challenging myself in that way, and I've still got a ways to go. Being able to bring what I always bring to the court, I think is just a given.
Nice find, nice finish, Alex Sharp.
And I think this year, stepping up my game and being more of a threat as well, is something that I'm looking to do.
Hi, I'm Loz. I'm Izzy.
Get ready for 100 special events.
Merry Christmas!
Tonight at 7, the stars are out for Christmas. And when Mrs. Claus comes to town, Santa's secrets will be exposed.
My husband is well into his 70s and still working.
I've also heard he's got a second family in Darwin.
The 100 Christmas Special. Tonight at 7 on 9 and 9 Now.
Hello, Australia. Want to go for a ride?
A summer heatwave has arrived.
This is it. This is what you've been waiting for.
4 spicy nights a week.
It's open season. It's Love Island.
Be afraid, boys.
The power has shifted. The girls are in charge.
What the hell? What the hell?
Surprise!
The steamy villain era has arrived. New Love Island. New episodes drop Monday to Thursday on 9 Now.
Hello and welcome back to the final game of round 6 of the Cygnett WNBL. This is a clash between the UC Capitals and the Townsville Fire at the NCCC. My name is Matt Hickey. I'm joined by Laurie Chiswick. We've got a second half to come. It's been a pretty entertaining first half, low scoring, but a good battle so far, Laurie.
It has, and it's sort of gone back and forth. I don't think there's been much more of this 5-point margin, throughout that first half. And lots of contributions from various players. There's a spread of scoring on both teams, so I'm sure they'll have talked in the second half, in the halftime break, and made some adjustments, both teams.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, Michaela Roof, she's out there at the moment. She was the player of the round for round 5, and she also, of course, featured in the team of the round with a 13.19 rebound performance. And a couple of other players that featured today as well. We saw Erin McDonald dominate for the Perth Lynx earlier today. In last round, she was very, very good as well. Annalie Maley, Mercedes Russell, and Ali Wilson. And that's a pretty decent team if that one was lining up for you, all those players on the same squad. That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
I think any coach would put their hand up to coach that group of women. Highly elite, very deserving of team of the round, and certainly Michaela Roof, to me, each game she's going from strength to strength. Really good season so far.
I think I could coach that team and they'd still manage to win, which is
come
saying
on, I'm not sure about that, Matt. Let's not get ahead of yourself.
An entertaining first half, as we mentioned. We're just about ready to go. Sammy Wickham, she was our player of the half. We spoke about her before the break. She has 11 points on 4 of 10 shooting. She hasn't really seemingly been happy with what she's delivered in the first half, shaking her head a lot, but she's still got 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals.
Well, I think she shakes her head a bit when she thinks she got fouled and should be and ones, but, you know, to her credit, she's just got great court vision. We always talk about her leadership, her IQ. She just commands attention. So we'll see how she goes this second half in leading her Townsville Fire to another victory.
They do lead 37-32. The Capitals trying to get there first. Townsville trying to maintain their perfect away record in the second half is underway. Nice job creating space, and the friendly roll from Alex Sharp, who had a somewhat tough first half shooting the ball, just 3 of 10, but she makes an early one here in the third quarter.
Well, Alex Sharp averages almost 16 points a game, so, you know, when she does have that amount, you can say it's rather quiet, but I'm sure she'll spark up this half.
So they instantly cut the lead back to 3. Wickham, great little feed, but Akuso just found herself a little too deep in the paint, and the shot clock goes. So the right idea from the Fire didn't quite come off, and the Capitals will get another chance to eat into the margin.
Again, good anticipation of where that final pass was going to go and be able to get the deflection and now come up with the ball, Canberra.
A couple of early things to watch for as well, especially in the third quarter. 2 personals to Steph Reid and then 2 each to Sharp and Fowler for the Capitals. So with Reid guarding Melbourne, she will be trying her best to disrupt like that, but also not give away a third person.
And that's the fine line, isn't it? Players like herself, Maddie Rocci, who love to get up and in and really bother the offensive player and are very good at it, just to make sure they're not getting extra fouls.
Shot clock winding down. Melbourne one way, back the other to her left, pulls up with the right. Wasn't a pass, didn't hit the rim, shot clock violation. Melbourne seems to think that it did hit the rim, and I think there will be a discussion with the officials that just deflected marginally, so we will get a shot clock reset, and all's well that ends well. Must have been a very, very fine deflection. Can we get Snicko on that one? Yeah, just a little deflection off the left side of the rim.
That's right, the refs are very good at their jobs. So we should get a shot clock reset of 14 seconds.
And a clear possession for the Capitals as well. So they're going to set it to 11, I think, because of the time it took to get the whistle and the outlet pass from the rebound inside. So still enough time for the Capitals. Nice turn of the corner. Couldn't quite get the shot to drop. It was Woods who had the rebound. She starts the second half in the place of Alice Kunek, who were wishing all the best after an injury in the first half. Melbourne kick to the corner. Tough look, not quite. Battling for the rebound inside was foul, but she couldn't quite get it or reel it in, but it doesn't matter because it was out of bounds on the Fire.
Well, we have to remember, and we talked about this right at the opener, the difference in preparation. Canberra played on Friday night, so not much of a turnaround between Friday night and Sunday afternoon. And It was a hard-fought game, that 2-point game to Sydney, and whereas Townsville have had 10 days off. So, you know, if I was Townsville, you'd be pushing the ball and really trying to force Canberra to use their legs and get up and run and see if fatigue plays a factor in that fourth quarter.
I leave Steph Reid wide open. She read the ball beautifully off her own miss. It's what every young coach tells their players to do. And she did it to perfection. Then Woods with a take, just the ability to stop, hang, hit, and she'll go to the line for one extra. It's the de-acceleration, which we're seeing more and more in the modern game.
That almost looked like that was in slow motion, that replay. And yet that was her control, looking where the basket was, knowing where the defenders were, finishes off the and one.
My knees and ankles hurt just watching somebody stop like that, but that's why they're out on the floor, and I'm sitting down. And just Okoye, I think she might have spent it before she had it, so turnover, the fire back the other way, and the Capitals, they have to stay within touching distance. If they can be there or thereabouts entering the final quarter, anything can happen. Ball through hands for the Fire. They always seem to move well without it. Akuso had no option she liked, but she liked going herself and somehow got it to drop.
They just do such a good job of reading the defense, and they've got lots of little twists in their offense.
And Fowler just threw it away a little too early. She was trying to go up strong, but just lost the handle. And good to see her actually roll to the basket. She's been used almost exclusively as pick and pop. I'd like to see her involved in some other ways. Just 1 of 6 from deep, 2 of 9 from the field for 5 points and 4 rebounds for Alex Fowler. Crusoe went right last time, this time goes left, and she scores that as well. And all of a sudden, this leads out to 10, and it's getting a little bit dangerous for the Capitals.
Yes, now's the time they need to lock in defensively. I tell you what, Townsville are locked in defensively. Courtney Wood, nice steal. Again, that slow gate to the basket, gets herself to the foul line.
So free throws to come for the Fire. Just a little bit of an update for you. Alice Kunek has been taken to hospital, so we're just wishing her all the best, but she will take no further part in this one. Timeout on the floor. It's the Capitals who trailed by 10, and it's a little jump here that will have their supporters a little bit nervous. This timeout is brought to you by CTM Sport. CTM Sport is here to transform your team's travel experience. You can leave the hassle of off-court arrangements to CTM Sport, the experts in sports travel management. Get the winning edge at ctmsport.com.au. Laurie, what do you think the UC Caps are talking about in this timeout? This start of this third quarter hasn't gone to plan, and they find themselves in a little bit of a hole at the moment.
Well, I think they'd be talking, I'm sure it's a two-way timeout. So Veely would probably be just talking about if they want to change anything defensively. So, you know, whether that's switching, whether that is, you know, forcing away from screens. So a quick chat about defense. And then offensively, you know, they've only scored 2 points in this quarter so far. So what can they do? Who can they set up? Who do they want the ball in the hands? Do they want a nice pick and roll? I mean, you have to give Townsville credit. They're really taking the Capitals out of their offensive rhythm. They're making everything hard, everything they're thinking about, you know, where's the next pass? Nothing's coming easy to them, and that is what you want to do as a defensive team. But you know, Veely would have probably drawn up a play for this time down the floor at least.
Courtney Woods makes the first, lead moves out to 11. And makes the second as well. So Townsville 46 away from home, the Capitals at home 34. We're midway through the third quarter of the final game of round 6 of the Cygnett WNBL. Great defense in theory from Courtney Woods, but a foul called. So there was the play out of the timeout. Look to get Alex Sharp going.
And I like the fact that they looked to get her on a post-up. She's been a little bit quieter, to me, she's taken probably some uncharacteristic shots. And so I think to get her involved, they need her involved. You know, she averages, like I said, 16 points a game. So they need her to be, you know, a little bit more proactive and get her the ball in some good spots.
Both teams struggling to shoot the ball from distance at the moment. The Capitals 3 of 16, 18%. Townsville 3 of 15, just for 20%. But the Fire from the field doing business, and they're 100% from the free throw line as well. Kuso, she's had a really good quarter so far. This time goes to the left. Better defense from Fowler.
And a nice rebound by Alex Sharp. So that's 2 possessions where she's been involved in. That just might be what she needs.
Great block on the other end of the floor. It was Ruth who came up with the defensive stop. And things starting to go right here for the Fire. Can they make them pay on the offensive end of the floor? Single digits on the shot clock. Akuso deep, deep 2. She couldn't get it to drop, and here comes Jade Melbourne. Her 3rd rebound of the contest. And a tough pass. Woods just tosses one up in the air. Jump ball, Akuso. How did she get it? How did she flick it over to Reed? It was a brilliant play and a heavy foul from Melbourne. We'll see Reed go to the line, but Zatina Akuso with some gymnastics.
Well, I tell you what, if that had been in Townsville, that save by Courtney Woods, and then that jump and save by Akuso, that would have brought the house down. Not so much in Canberra, though.
It's the type of play that just deserves to see a field goal made, isn't it?
Yes, I agree.
It's all the times where you see every player touch the ball, awesome rotation, and it just always tends to go in. But sadly, the finish didn't quite live up to the end. And they've run the play early. Eventually, they got the look to Whitcomb, but Ruth was wide open underneath the basket, but Courtney Woods didn't have the ball yet. Alex Sharp tried to drop the shoulder, but it's tough to move Zatina Akuso down low. Can Munga be the one to spark them? No, and Akuso with a rebound. Akuso up to 5 boards in this one. Surprisingly averages less than 6 a game. As we see Reed take the ball to the basket, she'll go to the line to shoot 2. It just seems like, Laurie, that the Caps need a circuit breaker. Just need something to break up this.
Well, they do, but I feel like I keep harping on about this, but with that, you know, and I'd spoken to Alice Kunick, who, as you said, we hope she's doing okay. In that 10-day break, their focus was on defense. And to me, you can really see it out there in today's game. They are locking the Capitals down and just not giving them any breathing space at all. And the Capitals are really hard to scout because they're unpredictable. They play this read and react style of game. But I tell you what, the Townsville Fire have just really made life difficult for them.
We saw some pictures of Akuso just running into the locker room, but she looked to be okay, so I'm sure she will be back out. Good rebound from Sharp. Will get a chance to go again. And she does, and gets one to drop, and gee, did they need that.
Well, it was a great shot because it was actually a contested shot. Zawi B had her hand right there, so great finish by Alex Sharp.
Unbelievable. Steph Reed somehow over the extended hands, flips it up, kisses it off the glass, and scores 2. Look at this for a play. Unbelievable.
She just willed her body into a different position to be able to finish that off. But that's just, you know, we see that over and over from Steph Reed. She's small, but she just makes herself, I don't even know how to describe it, but the way she can get to the basket and the way she keeps her eyes on the target and is confident to finish is just great to see.
I think she might have asked at the end of that play whether it went in or not.
Yeah.
That's how she was knocked over and couldn't see whether the ball actually found the bottom of the net. Well, it did. And she went to the free throw line, and now the Fire up by 12. Munga, but turnover. Zoe B channeling her inner Tom Brady, flips it up. And this time it's Courtney Woods for 2. And this is a big last 4 minutes here for the Caps because they're down by 14 and they need an answer.
And that's not going to help when you get a turnover.
And Sammy Whitcomb to the races. She scores 2, and this crowd has really quieted down. The Fire lead by 16, and the turnovers are killing the Capitals.
They look tired to me. They look like they've got fatigue is playing a factor in their decision making, their passing, and we can see another turnover there. Another open look for Sammy Whitcomb, who's a rare miss from that range.
Yeah, it's all crumbling a little bit here for the Capitals, and you can see the frustration from Gemma Potter as she whacks the ball down after picking up a foul. And an interesting number to look at is Okoye only has 1 3-point field goal attempt. She averages 7 per game. Could they potentially draw something up for her to look to get her going? We know how quickly she can catch fire, but just the 3 attempts for the field goal attempts for the game, 1 from deep, 0 points.
Well, again, I think that Townsville have done a good job and know their scouts. And the scout on her is get a hand, close out long, make her put it to the floor, switch onto her. She's going to pick and pop. And they've done a great job of that.
Zoe B misses the first, but makes the second. And a foul up the court to Reed. So that's only her 3rd personal. She had 2 very, very, very early on in the contest, but has managed to avoid picking up her 3rd up until that moment. She is just giving Jade Melbourne hell up and down the court.
This is actually a really good game for Zoe B to be involved in with her first WNBL game. It's you know, the scoreline dictates that there's not a lot of pressure right now. She can get used to the speed, she can get used to the refereeing, because that always takes a bit of time when a player comes and they're new to the competition.
Especially for players who play on the inside. We see that they tend to take a little bit longer to get used to the officiating in Australia.
Well, the physicality, what you can and can get away with or utilize.
2:20 to go in the 3rd quarter, a quarter that has been well and truly owned by the Fire. Reed, no look pass, Cassandra Brown, she travelled, and that's been twice Cassandra Brown has managed to get a great seal and a great catch 2 feet in the paint, but hasn't quite been able to finish on the offensive side. And have a look at the replay. Good hands, good pressure, and Munga did the job in the paint. And gets a well-earned break as well. Really crucial few minutes here to end the 3rd period for the Capitals. They need some sort of answer. Struggling offensively. Here's Melbourne. Turnover again, Woods, kick up, guess who on the fast break? Sammy Whitcomb scores again, up to 15 points in the game now, and the turnovers really hurting the Capitals.
Well, they are, because the thing is that the Fire, every time there's a turnover, and they're, you know,
always seems to be some sort of advantage on the break, as we see Cassandra Brown again, and finally a timeout from Kristen Veal, because it has fallen apart from the Capitals, and the Townsville Fire are running them into the ground.
Well, their passes are so predictable right now, the Canberra Capitals. They almost look like they're directly looking at where they're going to pass it. There's no pass fakes. There's no sort of movement to come to the ball. And so they're picking them off very easily. And as you said, they're finding a way to score at the end of every turnover.
This timeout is brought to you by Ford Aussie Hoops. Ford Aussie Hoops is the perfect introduction to the world of basketball for kids aged 5 to 10. Basketball Australia are launching the Ford Aussie Hoops Award for 2023. To find out more about all of Ford Aussie Hoops, you can visit aussiehoops.basketball to register. You can go find a program near you. The young opals and boomers of the future just getting involved with Ford Aussie Hoops. So Townsville 60-39 at the moment, with 91 seconds to play in the third quarter.
Tell you who has a very good stat line is Courtney Woods, 13 points, 71% from the field goal, 3 from 3 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. She's been very efficient in her time out there.
And 6 steals as well, Courtney Woods, so finding the loose ball. Sammy Whitcomb has 3 steals of her own as well. And Jade Melbourne being relatively well held by the combination of Steph Reed and Sammy Whitcomb, 5 points, 3 rebounds and 4 assists. So just a minor delay as we wait to restart this one. And now we are good to go. Jade Melbourne, can she be the spark? Downhill, draws the foul, and she'll go to the line to shoot a pair.
And that's something we've seen Jade Melbourne do a lot of. Bring the ball up the floor, then all of a sudden change her pace and really explode to the basket.
And that'll be something that Coach Shannon Seaborn will, I think, be harping on his players. That possession, and their focus is defense, as you mentioned, Laurie. And player able to dribble all the way down the floor, get 2 feet in the paint, draw a foul. You need to make a play like Jade Melbourne, give it up.
Yes. Challenges is to keep her in front of you, keep the offensive player in front of you as a defender.
Woods. She draws the foul, and that one will go against Gemma Potter. And as Laurie mentioned earlier, great outing so far from Courtney Woods. And this crowd has wanted to get into this game, Laurie. They've been looking for something to really, as we see another wedgie, to get them involved, but they just haven't quite had the spark yet to really take over from a crowd perspective.
No, I mean, they've been competitive in all their other games, other than one, I think, against the Southside Flyers. But, you know, the thing that we need to see from the Capitals right now and their fans is at least their endeavor, that they're going strong, they're still working hard, they're still trying to score, get stops on defense, and that they haven't hung their heads and you know, put up the white flag already.
There's soccer being played on the far side of the court there. Courtney Woods was a little shaken up after that last play, but managed to pick herself up. Yeah, they need to take some form of positive out of any game, regardless of the result in the margin.
Exactly.
21-point lead inside the final minute of the third. Whitcomb turns the corner. Whitcomb flips it up, but she doesn't flip it in.
Saffron Shields is on the court right now. Some valuable minutes for a young player.
Gemma Potter for 3, no, not quite. Good contest on the rebound from Sharp. Eventually found its way to Fowler, who scores 2. Doesn't get much easier for the Capitals either in round 7. They play the Melbourne Boomers on Friday night. So, tough schedule for them. Zoe B with the right idea, looking for Cassandra Brown down low. Brown wanted another steal, but gives up the foul this time.
It doesn't get any easier. All the teams are tough opposition. And we've talked about this. Doesn't matter where you are on the ladder.
So the end of 3 quarters of play. It's the Townsville Fire who absolutely dominated that period. They lead 62-43 away from home, and they look destined to maintain that perfect away records. Currently sitting at 3-0 entering this game. And Laurie Chiswick, some work to be done for the Caps, but as we've said a few times, they have to get something out of it. What do you think is the first point of improvement as we look through some of the highlights from that third quarter?
Well, I think the very, very first message is take care of the basketball. Turnovers really had an impact that quarter, because every time that they turned the ball over, Townsville were just able to go to the other end, capitalize, and get an easy layup. So to me, turnovers are the first thing to make sure that, you know, they address and they take care of. Then offensively, I think they just need to try and get the ball through hands, maybe a bit more player and ball movement, but to me they do. They look really tired out there right now, and especially with a young group, when you're tired, one of the first things that goes is your decision making, and that's why I think we're seeing so many turnovers out there, because just their decision making, what they're actually doing with the ball, is really hurting them.
And no Alex Bunton this afternoon either for the Caps. So we have a look at some of the team stats there, and 30% from the field, not going to get it done too often. They're actually shooting a better clip from the land of plenty, but it is not making too much of a difference at the moment. And then we have a look at that rebound count. It's one that the Townsville Fire have controlled. And as you mentioned just before, Laurie, turnovers. It's the type of area and stat that they have to win if they want to cause upsets.
Absolutely. You have to, it's all about possession, and so that's, you know, it's about taking care of the ball, making the Fire play some tough defense out there, testing it, making sure, you know, even if they don't score, they get a good shot, and then make it tough for Townsville at the other end of the court.
So 1 quarter to go for round 6 of the Cygnett WNBL, and it's the Townsville Fire who hold the advantage and have the opening possession at the NCCC in the nation's capital. Into a bit of a zone, I think, for the Capitals. And they're looking just to play some frantic basketball, maybe cause the odd upset or two as we see the back doors open, but it doesn't affect the shooting as the Fire continue on their merry way. Ball out of bounds and the Fire will get it back. So there's those turnovers we spoke about, and I'm sure it was harped on in the 3-quarter time break as well. Be interesting to see at what point some of the stars for the Fire potentially come out of the game and make way for more of the bench players. Is Brown for 3. She's played a lot of minutes, has had real intent. Akuso might have just copped one there, but again, slowly picks herself up. And another turnover from the Capitals. Just look like they need to just take a breath. Brown for 3, and finally she sees the bottom of the net.
Couple of, like, that last turnover by Alex Sharp to me is really uncharacteristic. But again, I think we have to give full credit to Townsville and the way that they're playing them. They're making it tough on every possession.
Melbourne, no look, kick to the corner, and Clark. We mentioned her a lot in the first half. She pops up here in the 4th quarter, and that is one of the positives for the Capitals. Jada Clark has had a really good outing, up to 9 points and 3 assists.
Well, she has, and as we mentioned, she's only 18 years old. She's a graduate from the BA Center of Excellence, and she's played some really valuable minutes here.
Brown from the same spot, same shot, and same result for the Townsville Fire, and Cassandra Brown, who we know can light it up, and you know very well if you've watched any of the NBL 1, because she is absolutely lethal and can score points in a hurry. Back the other way, Alex Sharp. It's been an almost game for Alex Sharp. Has had some great looks, but just hasn't seen the bottom of the net as much as she'd like. Wickham was really good in the 3rd, goes herself, draws a late whistle, and will shoot a pair of freebies. Just the ability to get into the paint, but not let the height mismatch impact her shot. Draws fouls, goes to the line as we see Zatuna Akuso have a break, and Amanda Zowie be onto the floor.
And I think that is one of the, you know, reasons that they did bring in another import. It was just another body in their rotation. So they can go smaller, they can go bigger, but they've really got all bases covered into whatever, you know, style they want to play. And as I mentioned right at the beginning, the 5 starters of Reed, Whitcomb, Kunick, Roof, and Akuso, they're scoring 80% of their points. So to have another body in there to be able to assist with that will be great.
Corner triple on its way. No dice. Okoye with the O ball. Let's see where it came off, and the officials aren't sure, so they've called a jump ball. Always like when the officials just say, okay, well, we didn't see it, so let's call a jump ball. Let's not make a guess.
I agree.
That's why they're the best in the biz. Couldn't tell a whole lot from that replay either. Single digits on the clock. Munga. Ball across. Hard to the left. Good little hand in there from Reed, and she was the one who caused the travel. And Steph Reed on both ends of the floor wreaking havoc. She remarkably doesn't have a steal in this game, but has had such an impact defensively.
She certainly has. And that's something that, you know, while she can score and facilitate, it's her defense too. Really all-round game that she's had specifically this season. Great finish, great pass to begin with, and a really nice finish. And it's going to take Zawi B just a little while to get to know what her teammates can and can't do as well.
And I think really positive signs as well that she doesn't just settle for the pick and pop. We know she's got a great stroke from the outside, but more than happy to roll to the basket as well. Oh, the no-look feed was almost on for Cassandra Brown, just a little too hot on the pass. So lead is 27 at the moment, the way of the Fire. 6:20 to go in the fourth quarter. Hope you've enjoyed so far your Sunday afternoon of hoops. Coming to you on 9 now. So another tough possession for the Caps, and the Fire will retake the possession.
I feel like this is one of the few games that there's been a real difference between 2 playing 8, and it's really noticeable in this game, because certainly that hasn't been the case in virtually all the other games that we've seen so far in this season.
So we've mentioned that the Caps yet to register a win. They're in their next 4 games, Laurie, and out of those 4, you'd think that the Lightning is probably the best opportunity on paper. We do know that anybody can beat anybody on their given day. That's what we love about the league. But pretty tough 4 games, although that game against the Lightning might be their chance.
Well, the last time those 2 teams met, Canberra and the Lightning, it was a 3-point game, a 3-point win for the Lightning, and that did go right down to the wire.
Munga with a nice little 2, and we saw earlier today the Lightning go down in a thriller. So they've played 2 games this weekend. One, they lost to the Flames by 2, and then they lost to the Lynx in overtime, as we see Zawi B just saying, it's WNBL stuff, not too hard. She scores 2 and will go to the line. So after those games, so they play the Boomers, the Lightning, the Lynx, then they play the Flyers, and then the Lynx again, and then the Spirit. So winnable games in there. It's going to come, Capitals fans. Don't worry, the win will come. But round 6 doesn't appear to be the round that it's going to happen.
Well, I think the thing, too, is because they've been so competitive in so many of the games, the teams just know they can't come out and just take them for granted. They bring their A games when they're coming to play the Capitals.
Koya with the air ball. Do you think that having such a tight loss against the Flames in a game where they led down the stretch by over 5 points maybe took just a bit out of them in terms of mentally?
I think no doubt it did. I think, you know, it's been a very quick turnaround. They were in front of their home fans. It was, you know, it was just within their grasp. And so you know, and they've had a few of those games, and you think at some stage that that's going to take its toll, and I think we're seeing that in today's game.
Tough when you're getting a refreshed and raring to go Townsville Fire, as we see Courtney Wood score 2 more. She's had a fantastic day at the office, now up to 17 points, 5 rebounds, 6 steals, and there is a timeout on the floor. Courtney Woods in those pink shoes doing the business.
Well, and I think that, you know, we talk about did it have an effect on Canberra and you know, where they sit, but you have to remember that Townsville just had 10 days off, worked on their defense, and they're already the best defensive team in the competition, you know, giving up a stingy 69 points per game. So it was a big ask for Canberra to come in and play this game. And right now, really all that Coach Kristen Veal can do is to make sure that they keep going. They play out this last 4.5 minutes. It's a teaching opportunity. But yeah, they'll be tired.
Yeah, tough round. We spoke about the games to come for the Capitals, and now we take a look at the road ahead for the Fire. And I think a few people will have that game against the Boomers circled in round 8.
Yeah, that'll be a great game. Well, I'm not sure. Townsville, with this win, will go to 6-1, so I'm not sure percentage-wise whether they'll leapfrog Melbourne, but either way, they'll be in 1 or 2, and Southside are in 3rd spot, so that'll be a great game.
Yeah, some really interesting games coming up. That's actually quite a tough one. You play the Flames twice, who are only seemingly getting better. You play the Flyers, and then you play the Boomers, who at this stage have only dropped 1 game, and who knows by round 8 what their record will sit at.
Well, and you're thinking the Flames, you know, if they're going to make a run, now's the time to be pushing into that top 4. And as you said, they've had a couple of close wins. Couple of 2-point wins this round against Adelaide and then against Canberra. So, yeah, some great games always to look forward to.
Townsville now with what we assume, barring a miracle, will be their 5th victory in a row. So starting to create a bit of a streak and one that I'm sure will be talked about during the week as they head in to round 7. Couple of substitutions on the floor, and that's probably the final minutes we're going to see from Steph Reid. 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. That stat line probably doesn't represent the impact she had on the floor.
Well, and sometimes the things players do don't appear, and you know, we often talk about that they can, you know, it can be deflections, it can be getting up and in, it can just be hassling on defense, those things that don't appear on the stat line, and I think that's certainly her game today.
Lead at 31 the way of the Fire at the moment. 4 minutes to play in the final period. Good to see the crowd still getting involved despite the struggles of their side. The kids still dancing in the background. Nice step through, but couldn't quite get the shot to drop. Those kids must know there's only a few weeks left of school before Christmas comes around. So a good chance to see some of the players we might not see too often, although I think Shields might have travelled on that occasion. She's played a little bit throughout this game.
Well, and what a great opportunity for the Townsville Fire, some of the bench players, to get some really valuable minutes and runs in their legs, and because you just, you know, it's a long season and you're just never sure what happens to different players and that. So in their development, because they're out there training every day just like everybody else, it's really good to see that they get some court time.
Zoe B gives away the foul. It'll be free throws to come for the Caps. Be really interesting to see the impact Zoe B has once she gets her legs under her here for the Townsville Fire. Has looked pretty solid in this first outing, you know, has not been in the country for too long, but has 9 points in limited minutes, 5 rebounds, and you expect her to really only get better, especially as she finds a place in this offense.
Well, won't that be a test for her playing against the Southside Flyers, which are arguably the biggest team in the competition, and what they bring and how she will, you know, cope with that. But as I said earlier, it really is a good game to just be able to sort of usher her into the WNBL.
As we see McDowell White step up and knock down a big 3. Nice look from her, and Zoe B on cue with a great defensive play, and here come the Fire back the other way. Caps just need to give something here in the last 3 minutes for a bit of pride. Starting to get a little bit nasty on the scoreboard. Wood's still out there. Couldn't flip it up and in. Great hustle from McDowell White, but she couldn't reel it in. Here's Jade Curison with her first minutes as well.
Yeah, and you know, conversely, it's great to see that Canberra bench is also getting some valuable minutes for them as well.
Curison played with St Mary's, has played in New Zealand, originally born in Brisbane. final few moments of this game. It was a thrilling first half, really tough grind of a game that had its moments of brilliance both on the offensive and defensive end of the floor, but the second half has just belonged to the Townsville Fire. They have been elite, and it has all started with the defensive end of the floor. They have just allowed 49 points to this point. Kirsten gets into a little bit of trouble. Tough fall away jump shot. Looked all right out of the hand, but left it short.
Well, that, 25-point third quarter was always going to set them up for, a good second half of the game.
Saffron Shields with some fancy footwork, but a good defensive play from Alex Fowler. Abby Solway also getting her first minutes for the Caps. Shields. Maybe a little bit of a nudge from Fowler. Good defensive play. It's going to stay with Townsville as we enter the final 90 seconds. A reminder that round 7 kicks off on Wednesday night between the Perth Lynx and the Sydney Flames at the Bendat Basketball Centre.
Won't that be a good one?
Certainly will.
Yes, 4 versus 5. Sydney desperate to get some more wins on the board to push their way into the 4. Perth will have be coming off of 2 losses.
Perth riding high after that thrilling win we watched earlier. I'm going to call that one a pass. Couldn't reel it in though, and Townsville back the other way. You just got a little glimpse at the screens that Zowie B is going to be able to set going forward for this Townsville Fire team. Shields got called for a travel. It was an impressive little jab step. Shook Abby Solway out of her boots, but was then pinged for the travel. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, just switch the pivot feet, but nice idea with the little jab.
Yeah.
3 ball back the other way, and big hit for Abby Solway in the gold boots. Good to see her get on the board. Last 40 seconds of this game. McDowell White kicks into Zowie B. And a bit of a tough ask for this UC Caps bench unit, having to deal with a WNBA player down the other end. Solway one more time!
That's giving the crowd something to cheer about.
How good is that from Abby Solway? Back-to-back triples. So a little bit of light at the end of a pretty dark game for the UC Capitals. They will go down in this one 84-55. Shields looks like she wants to get on the board. No, she's going to dribble it out, and that is all done and dusted. The Townsville Fire 29-point winners in the end over the UC Capitals, 84-55. It was a clinical second half for the Fire. The Caps remain winless. The Townsville Fire, they move on to 6-1.
Well, I don't know that the Townsville Fire could send a clear message to the rest of the competition what their intent is this season. They are going about their business. They are getting better and better. They've just brought that new import in Zowie B. So, yeah, they're looking very good. Oh, now we have to comment on Alice Kunick. Wasn't there for that whole second half, even in the second quarter. I think she was when she got injured. We know she was taken to hospital, and we certainly hope it's nothing serious and that she's just having to get things checked.
Yeah, wishing her all the best, and talk about some firepower out there on the court as well. That was Sandy Brondello just out there getting interviewed on mid-court.
Yeah, she's keeping her eyes across all the players. That Opal squad has been announced, and certainly she'll have a look at some of those Townsville players and be very excited.
No doubt about that. So let's go to our player of the game, and Laurie Chiswick, it was Courtney Woods who stepped up in a big way.
She did. She came off the bench and she just had an impact immediately. And it was the way she scored it. She's got such control over her body. She's not explosive. She gets to the basket and she just slows down, but is able to get just enough air time to be able to look, to know where her defense is, to know where the rim is, and finish strongly. But her stat line, 17 points at 66%, 5 and 5, 5 out of 5 on the free throws, 6 rebounds, 6 steals. Really an impressive night for Courtney Woods.
Yeah, did a little bit of everything, that was for sure, and found her teammates, and a great performance from her. Some of the other players that stepped up, Sammy Whitcomb, she had 16 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 steals. Was at her brilliant best. Steph Reed had 10 points, but as we mentioned earlier, did a little bit more than what the stat sheet might put up. And Amanda Zowie B, less than 20 minutes on the court in her WNBL debut. She finished with 11 points and 6 rebounds. A good outing and good signs to come for the Fire. Some of the other numbers for the UC Caps, and I think the player that probably they got the most out of was the one that you just saw bury that triple, and that was Jada Clark. So a youngster, she had 9 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds, and as I said, what was a pretty tough old day for the Caps. It was good to see a young player step up and take her opportunity when it was given to her.
I think that's the bright side for the Capitals for this game. I think they just need to now rest, recover, review this, and just get on with things.
Get on with things. I like that. Let's just get on with things. And it's one of those things as either as a player, either you're down in the dumps about it, or you just want to get to the next game. You want to put that one behind you and let me get back out on the floor again and make amends for what was, as I said, a pretty tough old day for the Caps. So they go to 0-8. And they've got the Melbourne Boomers up next, which is a pretty tough ask as well. The Townsville Fire, they move to 6-1 now as we look through some of the team stats, and always going to be a tough ask to win games when you shoot less than 30% from the field.
Well, less than 30% and 21 turnovers is just not going to get it done, especially against the sharpshooting team of the Townsville Fire, who virtually capitalized on a lot of those turnovers.
Yeah, 21 to 15 as you mentioned, and anytime you have over 20 turnovers, really tough. And they also lost the rebound count by 9 in the end, the Capitals. There are some of your individual player stats. Again, I see a player who, Michaela Roof, who just won the round 5 player of the round. She was somebody who, came in and had 7 points, 10 rebounds. We didn't mention too much about her, but had a fantastic performance nonetheless. So there you go. Round 6 is in the books. Thank you on behalf of all our great production staff behind the scenes. Thank you to Laurie Chiswick. I've been Matt Hickey. We hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you next time for some more Cygnett WNBL.